Hey, how's it going, you swell individuals? Just a quick little heads up before we get into the video. This was made a couple of months ago, and we separated each nation's drug cartel, so this is the combined version of all of the Naku weed dealers. If I sound a little less energized back then, it's because we were just getting into YouTube, and the reason I'm uploading this is because we're gonna make a sequel soon. So thought I'd give everyone a heads up. But with that in mind, enjoy the video, guys. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be ranking the Genshin characters as your friendly neighborhood Naku weed dealers. So first up we have Albedo. Now Albedo, I think, would be a really good dealer actually, yeah, because he's very quiet without being shy and knowing when to speak and when not to speak in a business like dealing Naku weed is such an important trait to have. Wait a second, what if he's cooking in Dragonspine? Yeah, okay, because he's the alchemist, right? An alchemist is the closest job to being a cook and working in a laboratory. And he'd be a good dealer and cook all in one package? Wait, I wasn't expecting to get our Heisenberg of Mondstadt right off the bat, but yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Actually, where's Sucrose? Where's our Jesse? So, Sucrose, I don't think would be a good dealer. You know what? I'm gonna change this full-time dealer to full-time in the game. Yeah, because as a dealer, Sucrose is too timid. Yes, she's quiet like Albedo, but she's shy. And when the clients see Sucrose coming up with some Naku weed to sell, and she's shaking constantly, yeah, it's not a good sign of mutual trust. In that environment, nah. But Sucrose in a lab would be kinda perfect. Maybe she's gotten up to like 98% purity of the Naku weed, and she's trying to get to that 100. Cause I think Albedo's at that 100%, and he's teaching Sucrose in the ways, and she'll be his successor after a while. But yeah, she'd work with Timaeus in the Dragonspine lab, and she'd be different from Albedo, because Albedo could sell as well, but Sucrose, we just gonna leave her in the lab. I think that's the safer approach. Amber, yeah, we got our first good noodle, 100% is turning themselves in. Because I don't even know how Amber would even sell to begin with. Like maybe, wait, maybe she got some Naku weed from Kaya. Yeah, and Kaya told her it's prescription medication and to just sell it at the Mondstadt farmer's market. But Amber's not dumb, so I think after a while she'd find out what she really did and she would turn herself in. Yeah, she's too pure for this industry. Actually, wait, I want to do Kaya because I think Kaya's gonna be the kingpin of Mondstadt. Yeah, he just gives off such sleek, mysterious. He probably is already a Naku weed dealer on the side. We just don't know. So he has that cunning where I think he's probably the management guy. Like he's the one who designates the jobs for everybody in his cartel to do. Yeah. Okay, wait, who would work for Kaya? I think Lisa without a doubt would. Ooh, wait, what if she has like her library and it's actually a secret Naku weed house? Wait, would that work? I think that would kind of work actually, yeah. So she is the librarian in the day, and she can probably sell pretty well too, because she's persuasive. And I feel like men specifically would probably be pretty inclined to buy from her. She would be like, the first gram is free. Yeah, and I think Kai would probably trust her because they're both in the same like day job, if you will. But nah, Lisa would be, I think, a side hustler though, yeah, because she has 2 jobs. Meanwhile, as Kaya, yeah, he's the cavalry captain. But I feel like he would put more time into the cartel. But Lisa would be the side hustler, yeah. Barbara, oh, no. So maybe one day she'll sell just to get a bit of extra cash or something. But then the following day, she goes to work at the church and she just goes to the statue of Barbados and just breaks down. She'd start crying, "Barbados, forgive me for I have sinned." Yes. Okay, wait, she would actually do that. So yeah, she would turn herself in after that because she wouldn't want to dishonor her sister's name either. So she would stop it before it gets out of hand. I think both Amber and just Barbara would have short sentences, but they would still turn themselves in. Yeah. Actually, I want to do Venti now. Wait. Would Venti be a good dealer? I think he would, yes. And debatably, maybe he's Kaya's rival because they're kind of opposites. Venti's a lot more outgoing, enthusiastic, and he could sell like really well, I think. Yes, debatably it's a bad thing that he's so outgoing at times, but I think he'll know when to get into work mode. So I feel like one day though, maybe he has a job in like the outskirts of Mondstadt in Stonegate, and he's going thinking it's gonna be another quick job, but as he gets there, he noticed something feels a little off. His client that he's supposed to meet up with is gone. And then, as he's trying to make his escape really quick, he gets gunned down. Because I feel like maybe Kaya would set Venti up, because they're rivals in the Mondstadt Cartel industry. So maybe Kaya's in cahoots with one of Liyue's top dogs. Like Zhang Dong. We're not gonna do Zhang Dong yet. But nah, Venti gets gunned down by the Zhang Dong Cartel, who was hired by Kaya. And it would be a mutually beneficial thing because maybe Liyue is trying to expand a bit too, and getting rid of one of Mondstadt's top like dealers in general would be a huge plus for them. So yeah, Venti would be a good seller, but eventually bang bang in the streets. So next up we have Benny. Ooh, he's a tricky one. I feel like he would probably get coerced into doing this. Like maybe similar to Amber, he thinks he's helping people out. But one day, maybe he'll have a transaction to make in, let's say, Windrise, because it's not that far from the main city. And he would be on his way there, and Kaya's setting him up to get killed. Okay. So here's the thing though. On his way, he would get lost. Somehow, he would end up in maybe Stonegate or something. Ooh, okay, wait. What if he finds Venti's dead body in Stonegate? And then he just starts freaking out, but the Zhang Dong Cartel, they find Benny, but before they can off him, the Millilith come in. Yeah, okay. And Zhang Dong and co make their escape, but Benny's still at the scene of the crime, and he gets arrested because they think he's the one who killed Venti. Yeah, okay. Okay. He would get caught with the Naku weed and would also get pinned on killing Venti because somehow Benny always avoids death, but I don't think he's lucky enough to avoid the Millilith or Knights of Favonius, whichever one takes him in. I just realized Chongyun is in the wrong nation. Go back to your boys, bro. So next up we have D-Luke. Ooh, this is an interesting one. What if he goes undercover and is trying to bring Venti in to justice? Yeah, so he becomes a dealer himself to get close to Venti. But before D-Luke can put that final arrest warrant in Venti's face, Venti dies. So D-Luke's kind of at a bit of a conundrum here because he also has a very high moral compass. He's like Batman. And you remember that one episode or movie, I don't remember which one it was, but Batman killed the Joker and everyone was really happy. But Batman, when it was all done, he turned himself in because he still committed a crime. And I don't think he would just be able to tell, oh, it must have been Kaya who did it. So I think with his mission kind of failed. Debatably, you could say he would go after Kaya, but I think before that, he would do the time. Yeah, maybe after he gets out and pays his bail, because he's a rich man, he'd go after Kaya, but for now, we're gonna put him in turn themselves in. Yeah, I think that's how D-Luke would approach it, for sure. Next, we have Diona. Ooh, she's a tricky one. What if the Cat's Tail becomes half the alcoholic establishment that it is, but it also has a secret side with a secret menu of Naku weed. Yeah, okay. And Diona would be able to take orders from clients who ask for specific things, like they use code words. And Diona has to decipher what specific sort of Naku weed they want. And weirdly enough, I think Diona would be okay with this because I think she'd rather sell people Naku weed than sell them alcohol. They're both equally horrible for you. Debatably, Naku weed is probably worse depending on what it's laced with. Yeah, and she would also work for Kaya. Like the cat's tail would be an infrastructure that just makes different substance for Kaya. And I think Albedo probably works for him too. Yeah, he's like the Gus Fring of this world, to be honest. Next up we got Fischl. Ooh, she's a really weird one. I think she'd probably get gunned down though, yeah. Either she works for Kaya and he sees her as a loose end because she talks too much, or she would just be a lone seller and one of her clients would off her. And if you act all weird during a transaction, you might stress out who you're selling the Naku weed to. And maybe they'll pull out the 9mm and it would be an unfortunate end. But yeah, maybe Oz would escape, and debatably the reason why she survived as long as she did is because Oz is the persuasion bird, the translator. But I don't think he could keep her alive forever. No. Jean? Ooh, this is a weird one. I think this is what would happen. So, she's really good friends with Lisa, right? I think Lisa might give Jean some product to sell under the masquerade that it's healthy for people. Like it's prescription medication, like I mentioned with Amber, and she would sell it, right? But I think once she catches on to what she's really selling, she would also turn herself in. But there's a little bit of a twist with this one. I think she would turn herself in and she wouldn't report Lisa because they're really tight, but she would urge Lisa to also turn herself in for what she's doing. But the reason why Lisa originally gave Jean the Naku weed to sell was because Kaya told her to. And I think Kaya maybe wanted to get Jean out of the picture because she's basically the prime minister of the law, if that makes any sense. So maybe he would know that Jean would feel guilty and turn herself in. Yeah, and she would have no way of tying the connection back to Kaya. Dude, there's layers to this. But yeah, she would turn herself in. Lisa would feel really bad. It would just be a whole thing. Mika. Ooh, I think Mika's gonna be kind of similar to Sucrose, but not in the lab. He would be the man who directly gets the herbs. Like he would be out in the wild because he knows the land, and he'd know where to get the specific good, pure Naku weed in the wild. And he probably works as somewhat of a informant of where the good stuff is for Kaya. Yeah, okay. So yeah, he would also be full-time in the game, similar to Sucrose. They wouldn't be dealers because I don't think he would be a good dealer because he's also timid and he would stress out the client base. Yeah, he would stick to what he's good at is what I think. Yeah, but he'd be full-time. Klee. Ooh, this is a tricky one. Ooh. Okay, this is where I think the two heads, the Heisenberg and the Gus Fring, or just the Kingpin, they would have some beef here. I think Kaya might try to influence Klee to sell because she's a child, and nobody suspects a cute little toddler like Klee to be selling. But Albedo, as her big bro, I think is gonna urge Kaya to just not do that because he doesn't want his little sis to go down a bad path. So I think this is what their negotiation is gonna be. I think Albedo will convince Kaya to let Klee work in the lab with him because I think he'd rather have Klee in a safe environment opposed to her out in the wild dealing with people and Naku weed. And yes, debatably, Klee would just burn down the whole lab, but I think Albedo's such a good teacher that even someone with an explosive personality like Klee could probably get into it. And this is the safest bet to make sure his little sister's safe. So we're gonna put her in side hustle. Yeah. Mona, ooh, I think she would actually be a good dealer because when you're at rock bottom, you can only go up. And Mona, I think, would know how to adapt to the situation, in this case, the cartel industry. Yeah. So you can debatably say that her personality might not be the best for selling, but she can adjust herself, I think. And she would work under Kaya as one of his top dealers. And what if her scry glass lets her know which clients to avoid potential troubles with? Yeah, so she would tell Kaya, don't trust this specific client because he's gonna bring a little gang to potentially off you. So that would give Kaya the upper hand. Yeah, okay. I think Mona debatably would be Kaya's right hand. Who else do we have? No. Never mind. Mona's like a top dealer for Kaya. Okay, I think Rosaria is gonna be Kaya's right hand woman. Because the thing is with these two, they don't fully trust each other. I don't think they would trust each other with their lives or anything, but they would have a mutual understanding of financial stability. So, Rosaria could be a good dealer. She could scout out potential locations where further transactions could happen. And I don't think she would ever want to get rid of Kaya because that would potentially make her the new leader of Mondstadt's cartel. And I don't think Rosaria wants to be a leader. As long as she has a financially comfortable life, I think she would be okay working for Kaya, and Kaya would never off her because of how useful she really is. So they would low-key be at each other's throats, but at the same time, they would never off each other. Yeah, it would be a really tricky relationship, but I think that's how it's gonna go. Noelle, 100% is turning herself in. Yeah, the second she finds out that she even touched some Naku weed, she's knocking on the knight's door. Take me in, I'm a criminal. Yeah, and luckily she definitely would not be locked up for long. Like a lot of good friends in prison with her. Yeah, it would just be a whole nice shtick. Next we got Eula. Ooh, I think Eula would be a little similar to D-Luke. Okay. What if the Lawrence clan is a subsidiary company that works for Kaya, and Eula, as the honorable woman who in the long run wants to restore her family's honor, I think would become a dealer just so in the future she could get enough proof to turn the Lawrence clan in. Yeah, I don't think she would ever full out go after Kaya though. I think once the entire Lawrence clan is behind bars, she would be probably pretty happy, and she herself as the Justice Lady would also turn herself in. And maybe she even had like a bit of a negotiation with Kaya that maybe the Lawrence clan was getting out of hand or something. So Kaya's like, you know what? I'll help you bring down your clan, but I'm gonna have to potentially get rid of you too. And then Eula's like, there's no need, for I shall turn myself in. Yes, okay. Razor's a bit of a tricky one to end this off on. So I think this is what's gonna happen. Maybe he's out and about in the wild in Wolvendom, and he comes across a special kind of wolf hook, or the purple berry. I kind of forget what it's called. And this specific kind of wolf hook contains a lot of potentially harmful substance. So Razor eats it like it's normal, right? Because he's probably used to eating those berries anyway. But then he gets a huge, like, burst of energy and goes a little crazy. And then he's like, I must have friends, try substance. So he brings a bunch of them back to the main gate of Mondstadt, and he just goes up to everyone. Lisa, teacher, would you like to try special wolf hook? And then Lisa's like, what do you got there, dear? And then Kaya recognizes it, and he's like, oh my god, where did you find this? I thought this kind of wolf hook went extinct. So yeah, I think Razor would definitely continue to consume this wolf hook, but I think Kaya would pay him and give him a place to live as long as he continues to bring the supply back to Mondstadt. Yeah, so he would be the supply getter in the wild who also consumes their own product. Okay, this would be really interesting, but at least he finally has a nice place to live. All right, guys, so that was the Naku weed dealer tier list, the Mondstadt edition. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Naku weed dealer tier list. And today we'll be going through the Liyue cast and finding out who the king and queen pins of Liyue's cartels are. So we're gonna start off with Chongyun. Ooh, see, he's a good karma exorcist boy. And dealing the Naku weed as even a side hustle isn't exactly a good karma thing to do. Yeah, because potentially ruining the lives of your consumers, depending on what your stuff is laced with, isn't a good idea. So I'm gonna put him right off the bat in turns themselves in. I think this one's pretty self-explanatory. He wouldn't have a long sentence either, because I feel like he'll just see one client who had like negative effects of the Naku weed and would instantly be like, take me to prison. But yeah, he's a good boy. He's a wholesome kid. He's not meant for this life. Ganyu, ooh, okay, Ganyu 100% strikes me as right-hand woman, but who? Okay, there's two really big characters that I have in mind for the kingpin of Liyue. We're gonna leave Ganyu there for now. We're gonna start off with Zhang Dong, because last episode, him and Venti had a little bit of a squabble in Stone Gate. I think he would be a kingpin because this man is so knowledgeable about literally everything, and his ability to keep his identity a secret is perfect. Like, he would have people working for him directly, like maybe 4 or 5 of them, but then it's like a social hierarchy. And a lot of the lower down dealers don't even know who their real boss is, Zhang Dong. Yeah, and he talks a lot, yes, but at the same time, he's also the type who only speaks when spoken to, which is another really good trait to have in this industry. So yeah, he's gonna be our first kingpin, and Ganyu, would she work for him or the other boss? Because I think you guys can probably guess who the other kingpin or queen pin of Liyue is gonna be, but I'm gonna put Ganyu as a side hustler for Zhang Dong. Yeah, because even he knows that Ganyu can't be working too much on this because she's overworked already. She needs some rest from time to time. But yeah, in terms of Ganyu as a seller, I think she would be okay, because when it comes to work, she just has a good way of adapting to whatever the job is. So I don't think she's a top tieler full in the game, but as a side hustle, working for Zhang Dong, yeah, works out for me. I want to do his other right hand, Xiao. Both of the Adepti are just his right hand men and women. So, would Xiao be a good dealer? I don't think so. I think he would be like absolutely loyal to Zhongli. If Zhongli is like, go sell these Rukadava shrooms at the harbor, I think he would do that, yeah. It's just that I can imagine him potentially getting mad at some clients. Ooh, okay, what if during a transaction he's selling and the client trash talks the Naku weed or the shrooms? Or even worse, they trash talk the supply chain itself, which relates directly to Zhongli, and this would piss Zhao off. So I think he won't get gunned down because he's a strong, agile boy, but I think eventually, potentially, he would get locked up. Why isn't this centered? This being not centered bothers me. But yeah, I think Zhao wouldn't turn himself in by any means, but I think if the Millilith surrounds him, he might have like that realization moment that yes, Zhang Dong is your boss and you're loyal to him, but at the same time, maybe he realizes selling Naku weed isn't the best life to have, and it's having negative effects on people. Yeah, I think he would realize and just not resist arrest. He would never get gunned down though, because he's too good for that. Okay, wait, who would be Zhang Dong's cook? I think you would be, ooh, okay, yeah. Wait, why was Baizu so high? Okay, so Baizu's gonna be the wait, never mind. He's gonna be the cook, and he's gonna be pretty top tier. Maybe not as top tier as Albedo from Mondstadt, but pretty close, because he's the pharmaceutical god. Maybe in the back of the pharmacy he works at, he has an underground Naku weed lab. Yes, okay. And he would be in charge of the supply. So a lot of times, just maybe Ganyu, Zhao, people come to the pharmacy to pick up the supply and just distribute it amongst the ranks of the cartel. Okay, good. However, I think at the same time, even though he's really good at production and he's full-time in it, he's also gonna consume his own Naku weed. For sure, bro. The thing with Baiju is he gives me heavy vibes that he is always naturally kind of baked. Like, you know those people in real life that are always under the influence, that it just becomes who they are on the norm? That's gonna be Baiju. And I think without a doubt, he'd still be really good at what he does. It's just, he would always be baked. Pretty normal. And you know who else would work for him? Chi-Chi. Would she take... No, Chi-Chi's not gonna take any Naku weed because her bestie says it's bad for her. So she will be side hustling in the pharmacy with Baiju, but she's not gonna be taking the product like him. Maybe, maybe every now and then Baiju's like, come on, Chi-Chi, you got nothing to lose. Just take a bit of the good stuff. Wait, maybe not. He's kind of a good influence, I think. But regardless, Chi-Chi would turn him down and be like, no, Yao Yao said it's not healthy for you. Yes, okay. So she would be in the lab cooking with Baiju just as a side hustle. Yao Yao, on the other hand, what would Yao Yao do? She's tricky because I can't imagine her selling, even though she would be a top tier seller. I think she would turn herself in. No. She's gonna work in the lab with Chi-Chi just to make sure Baiju doesn't cross any lines. Yeah, and maybe she tries to add a bit of healthy alternatives to the production line. Yeah, okay. She tries to make Naku weed a little healthier. Is she successful? Maybe not. Maybe it's just 2% healthier, but she's trying to help her bestie. Self-explanatory. She would be a great dealer, but if she was dealing, she would turn herself in. If Chi-Chi wasn't in the scenario, she'd be in prison, but Yao Yao, the cinnamon bun, is helping her best friend. Hu Tao? Okay. I think because she's technically Zhongli's day boss, Zhongli would harbor a bit of respect for Hu Tao. Yeah, so he would instruct her to be maybe one of his top dealers. And the thing is, Hu Tao, without a doubt, can sell. She could pitch the product like it's the best thing in the world. And the client probably thinks that Hu Tao's under the influence of the product as well. And they're like, I want to get a hit of that. Yes. With that in mind though, I think eventually she would get gunned down because she's too hyped. And maybe there's like a subtle client who has trust issues and sees Hu Tao waltzing up all willy-nilly and just don't trust her and potentially gun her down. Yeah. And Zhang Dong, I think, would be hit by this significant loss. Because before that, I think she would be a good seller. It's just eventually, I think they might find her body. Yeah. They'd have a funeral for her at her own parlor. Next we got Kexin. Okay, I want to do Ningguang first because I think she's gonna be the leader, without a doubt, of the other half of Liyue's cartel. She's the queen bee, while Zhongli's the kingpin. So I don't think they're gonna be working together. So yeah, they're both gonna be rivals, constantly out for each other. But the thing is, I think Zhongli would be more hands-on with his cartel, while Ningguang's just gonna be 100% the delegator of work. She knows how to run a company, so she would tell, all right, you go sell, you're working in the lab. That's how she's gonna run things. Because she's also really busy in the public eye, so it's tricky with Ningguang. I think she's more at risk for potentially getting gunned down. But for now, we're gonna leave her as the queen pin. With that in mind, Kexin is gonna work directly under Ningguang and is probably one of her best friends. The thing is, with Kexin, she's a very by the code, very high moral compass. She is in a high position of government already, mainly because she just wants to make the citizens of Liyue happy. With that in mind, at first, I think she'll sell a bit for Ningguang, but I think she's gonna try to persuade her boss, her friend, to just stop selling, stop doing this cartel business because it's wrong. But Ningguang is too far in that she cannot give up now. She can't stop. And I think Kexing is gonna try to report Ningguang and herself to the authorities. But what if on her way, as she's trying to turn Ningguang in, she gets gunned down? Yeah, because I feel like Ningguang would have to make that call. Yeah, she makes sure her best friend doesn't talk. This is kind of dark now. Wait, why am I getting emotionally invested? So yeah, Ningguang's gonna off Kexing from talking because she has to tie up any loose ends. And Kexing is gonna be a loose end in the long run. Unfortunately, yeah, this is a rough choice, but we're gonna put her there. Yeah, she tried to do the right thing, but at the end of the day, I think it was too late. Tartaglia, wait, he's not part of Liyue. Ooh, okay. What if Piero sent Tartaglia here to negotiate expansion terms with Zhongli? Because maybe that little meeting they had was actually related to some under the table business. With that in mind, I think Piero will tell Tartaglia to tell Zhongli to make room for the Snezhnayan Empire's cartel. Yeah, because Snezhnaya is probably trying to expand overseas. That's why Tartaglia is there. He's like the informant, the messenger. And here's the thing, you don't shoot the messenger unless you're Zhongli and he's threatening your nation's cartel. So I think he's gonna get gunned down, and Piero probably knew this was gonna happen, and that's why he sent Tartaglia. Because this is technically all the reason Snezhnaya needs to go to war with Liyue's cartel industry. Because Zhongli gunned down one of their men, their messenger. So now Snezhnaya has every reason to try to attack Liyue's cartel. Yeah, okay, this is pretty cool. Will they succeed? We'll find out at a later date. But for now, we're gonna leave it as is. We're gonna leave the Liyue Cartel untouched. Next up, we have Zhang Ling. Now, I think she's also gonna be a cook. Yes, I know working in a lab and cooking like a steak isn't the same thing. However, I think she's gonna work full-time for Ningguang and learn the ropes of the lab game. Yeah. Because Baiju's gonna be Zhongli's cook, while Zhengling is gonna be Ningguang's cook. I think Baiju's probably the better one at the end of the day, but maybe Guoba can make some high quality stuff too. Yes. So her and Guoba are gonna have a secret laboratory under her father Chef Mao's restaurant chain. Yeah. So just maybe you move the furnace aside and there's an underground staircase. I like this. She would be full-time in it though. Yeah. Beidou? This is really tricky. Ooh, okay. What if Beidou's the expander of the seas who is tied down by nobody? So she does not work for her bestie Ningguang or for Zhongli. The Crux fleet is just its own mobile lab. Yeah. And similar to Ningguang, I think Beidou's 100% gonna be the delegator, because as a dealer, she, I think, would lose her temper from time to time. If the client isn't agreeing to her terms, maybe she might pull out the great sword. But nah, she's gonna be in the boat. She'll tell her men, all right, we're gonna dock at Inazuma. We're gonna drop off some of our special Naku weed and just try to get as many people from different nations to know about our cartel, about our substance. So yeah, she would be the queen of the seas, and I feel like every nation's cartel, no matter where they're from, is gonna try to get Beidou. But they can't, because she's too quick and she's too good. And I feel like Ningguang maybe once or twice had a chance to finally get Beidou, but she has her friendship pact with her. But now, since she's really far in it, like maybe that was at the beginning of Ningguang's introduction into the cartel, but now she's already offed one of her besties. I think if she caught Beidou, she would also be offed. Yeah, but for now, Beidou's gonna be the queen pin of the seas of Tevat. Yes. Zheng Chou. Ooh, this is a tricky one. I think he's gonna be the undercover justice boy who's trying to bring one of the top dogs into justice. Yes, okay. Who would he be after? I think since Zhongli's so hidden in the shadows, he'd be after Ningguang because more people are gonna know who she is. With that in mind, would he catch her? No. I think he would try to compile as much evidence as he could, and eventually I think he would become a Ningguang dealer, like one of her best. But Ningguang, being the super smart lady that she is, I think would catch Zhang Cho. Yeah, if you're acting even remotely sussy, she's gonna catch you. And what would she do? Gun him down. Yeah, we're having a lot of people getting killed here. The Mondstadt episode only had like 1 or 2, but this is kind of dark. Yeah, okay, we're gonna leave it like that. Yelan, you know what? I think Yelan is gonna be a queen pin, technically working for Ningguang, but wants to overthrow her. And I think she probably could. Yeah, because she already has her little group of people that report and work for her directly. And Yelan herself, I think, is more hands-on in the community. Like, she will deal, she will delegate work as well. I think all of the people who work for Ningguang, who in turn technically work for Yelan as well, are gonna trust and respect Yelan a lot more. Because when you're hands-on in the cartel industry, the goons, even the people at the bottom of the chain, are gonna know who she is and respect the fact that she's still dealing. Because she doesn't really have to. She can just be a delegator. So with all that in mind, I think she might eventually cause an internal conflict in the Ningguang cartel, and eventually I think she would take her down. Because she has the tools at her disposal, she's stealthy, I don't think she's gonna be full out loyal to Ningguang, and this kind of lifestyle already suits her. She's fine with doing this. So I'm not gonna say she kills Ningguang right now. I'm gonna wait for potentially a part 2. But in long term, I think she would eventually overthrow Ningguang. Shenhe? Wait, she's a tricky one. I feel like she might be the gatherer. Yeah. So she goes in the wild under Zhongli's leadership because she probably works for him, I think, and would just gather as much herbs and plants as she can to try to find some new substance that could pair well in the Naku weed labs. Yeah, so she would be the gatherer of herbs, and potentially, since she eats so many of them, I think she might consume her own product as well. Yeah. So maybe she eats a special kind of sweet flower, and she, with the tolerance of a bull, is perfectly fine, but a normal consumer goes crazy. Like, the high they get is insane. And Zhongli's like, well done, bring more of these back. And she's like, can I continue to eat them? And Zhongli's just like, yeah, do whatever you want, girl. So yeah, she would consume her own product, literally. Yunjin, ooh, I want to do her and Jinyan together because they're the influencers, right? Okay, so Ningguang would hire both of them to promote her product. Yeah, so maybe Jinyan during a performance and Yunjin at a meet and greet are both low-key trying to advise their clientele to buy some of Ningguang's Naku weed. But who would be the better one? I think Yunjin is gonna have an advantage here compared to Jinyan, who I think would eventually get caught. Because Jinyan's a bit more loud and upfront and personal, meanwhile Yunjin is more discreet. So maybe at a meet and greet with Yunjin, she would do the normal meet and greet stuff, but under the table, she has like a secret code that if you use it, she gives you a bag of powdered Rukadava shrooms or Naku weed, whatever substance it happens to be. Yeah, so she would be good, but I think Jinyan, maybe she promotes at one of her concerts and isn't subtle and gets caught. That's my take on this. Lastly, we got Yen Fei, the lawyer. I think she's gonna be similar to Zheng Cho. Yeah. So Zheng Cho was investigating, I think, Ningguang, and Yen Fei will investigate Zhongli. Yeah, because she also has connections to Ganyu the Adeptus, so I think it makes more sense for her to be after him. But the thing is, I don't think she would full out be able to catch Zhongli, and I don't think she would be able to make the connection that he's the kingpin. Because he has so many people who work under him that it's so hard to find the root. So what I think is gonna happen is she's gonna be doing this for such a long time. Maybe she becomes a dealer at some point working with Ganyu to just try to find who the big boss is. but Ganyu's not a snitch. She has her contract with Lapis over here. So I think after she finds out that it's pretty much impossible, she knows that she's committed some crimes and is gonna turn herself in. I can't see it ending any other way. Debatably, she might get gunned down for suspicion, but I don't think she would, because the head himself, Zhongli, isn't gonna even know that potentially Yanfei works for him because he has so many people. Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, but I'm gonna put her in turn themselves in. All right, guys, this was the Liyue edition of the Rukadava Shrooms Naku Weed tier list. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're gonna be ranking the Genshin characters, from Inazuma specifically anyway, as your friendly neighborhood Naku Weed dealers, or just any relationship they might have to the Inazuma Cartel. So first we have Ayaka. Ooh, she's really wholesome. I can imagine herself turning herself in, but at the same time, as a dealer, I think she would be really good. But where would she even get the Naku Weed to sell? I mean, it does grow in Inazuma. Ooh, wait, okay. Maybe Ayato, as the big bro, is the kingpin of Inazuma's Naku Weed industry. Yeah. So one day, he'll call Ayaka into his office, and he's like, Ayaka, I think it's time we let you in on the family business. And Ayaka's like, what are you talking about, big bro? And he's like, you see this bag right here, Ayaka? This is 96% pure Naku Weed, and we grow it right here in our backyard. Ooh, no, he has an under the Kamisato estate lab. Yeah, so maybe behind like a bookshelf in his office, there's a staircase that goes down. Yeah, okay. So he would be the kingpin. He would designate all the jobs for his cartel to do. We'll get into who works for him though. Ayaka though, maybe he'll send Toma with her on her first job to Rito to sell some of the Naku Kush. And Ayato's like, Toma, make sure she doesn't mess anything up. And Toma's like, I got you, boss. Why am I giving him an Italian accent? This is Inazuma. Anyway, so yeah, Toma himself would be full-time in the game and he would be perfect. He would be an amazing dealer. He already has those haggling skills where he's good at negotiating prices and stuff. So as a dealer, top tier. Maybe he even helps out in the lab. He is Ayato's full-out right-hand man, and I don't think he would ever screw up. Ayaka, on the other hand, I think would eventually catch on that her brother's doing some illegal activities, and she approaches him like, brother, why are we doing this? And Ayato's like, Ayaka, sometimes we gotta do things that we're not proud of. And then Ayaka's like, but this is wrong. And then you know what Ayato would do? He would call up Aether. Yeah, okay, because Aether would probably be a dealer for like every nation across Tevat, because his commissions just maybe turn into sell 10 G's of Kush. So he's like, Aether, I know you like my sister and she really likes you. Why don't you convince her to get into the business? So Aether's like, Ayaka, it's not that bad. I even do it myself from time to time. And then Ayaka tries it, and I think potentially she might get hooked. Because Ayaka's a very adventurous, likes to explore new things kind of girl, but she needs that initial push that I think Aether would give. So Aether's gonna be the side hustler, and Ayaka, I think, would consume it. And then Ayato gets really mad at Aether, like, Aether, I told you to teach her to sell, not teach her to take it. And then Aether's like, to sell your product, you must consume your product. And then Ayato's like, Toma, kill him. So Aether's gonna get gunned down, Ayaka's going to rehab. That's the first little arc we have. I don't know. I got way too into that. But yeah, Ayaka would be fine after a while. She would just have to get reintroduced into society. Who else do we have who would work for Ayato? I think Sayu, yeah. So she's the stealthy go-getter. So since she's so lazy, I think Ayato might need to give her that little incentive. Like, Sayu, if you do this job for me, I'll let you have 20 extra minutes of nap time. And then Sayu's like, really? And I think she would be pretty good at this, because maybe like a customer's waiting for her in a back alley, like, where is that dealer? I need my Naku Kush. And then Sayu just pops up from the sewer, and they're like, where did you come from? She's like, enough talk, here's your stuff, give me the money. goodbye. She would be really to the point, wants to get back to the Kamisato estate just to get some nap in. Yeah. So see, Ayato knows how to play his pieces. But I think Sayu would be a side hustler, yeah. She only goes from time to time. Kazuha, I think, works for nobody because he's the wanderer. I think he might be the informant. Yeah, okay. So since he's always going from place to place, Ayato might contact him like, Kazuzu, I need you to scout out this area for me. It's run under the Liyue Cartel. So Miko's gonna be the other queen pin. We're gonna get to her. But Kazuha works for Ayato as like a spy. Maybe he goes undercover in Miko's cartel to find out like her evil plans, because you know Miko's a scheming little fox. So yeah, I think Kazuha is going to be a side hustler, just doing different jobs for Ayato. He might even consume too, because he has that stoner hippie vibe. But yeah, he's gonna be the side hustler. Miko, on the other hand, is the queen pin of the cartel. Yeah, and her and Ayato are constantly at war with each other. Yeah, okay. So, the face of Miko's operation is gonna be the Shogun. And Miko to Raiden is like, baby, this stuff right here, the Naku weed in my hands, specially crafted at the shrine. If people consume this, they'll believe in eternity forever. Yeah, because I feel like she would trick Raiden into getting into this, but she would never tell her to legalize Naku weed. No, because that would ruin the profit chain. Because if everybody's selling it, then Miko's not gonna make as much money. So Raiden's gonna be a full-time dealer and delegator for Miko. Yeah, because they're still like friends, right? So Raiden's gonna be full-time in the game, and I think if Raiden tries to sell to somebody, the client's gonna be like, oh my god, it's the Shogun. She's like, buy this from me, mortal. They're like, isn't that like illegal? And she's like, nonsense, take it now or face dire consequences. She would threaten people into just taking the Naku weed. Yeah, okay. Yoimiya is perfect for this industry because she already has like some under the table things she's done in the past to help out with the whole rebel against the Shogun. But in the Naku weed dealing industry, she's gonna be a full-time dealer, and Naganohara Fireworks is gonna be a supply chain. Yeah, a subsidiary company that works for Ayato. Okay, so every now and then Ayato's like, Toma, go check in on Naganohara Fireworks. I need to see how our next supply is coming along. And Toma's like, yes, boss. Goes to see Yoimiya, and behind the firework counter is just another underground staircase with kind of like a mini greenhouse that's growing the Naku weed. Yeah. So she's perfect. As a dealer, top tier without a doubt. Everything about her it's perfect for this. And she would work for Ayato. Maybe not even as a seller, just an all-arounder. She'd do a bit of everything like Toma here. Next, we have Sara. So the thing with Sara is she's gonna do whatever Raiden says, no exception. So Raiden's gonna be like, Sara, spread this eternity drug to everybody. And Sara's gonna be like, yes, my queen. But I think eventually she would just be selling things all willy-nilly and starts to see the people she sells to kind of get down bad. Like maybe Mark at the local corner store. Why is his name Mark? Anyway, he looks really tired all the time. And she's like, Mark, what's wrong? And Mark's like, I think I took too much of that Naku Kush. And she's like, what's the Naku Kush? And Mark's like, you just sold it to me the other day. And she's like, what have I done? Raiden, you have to stop this. And she's like, no, anything for eternity. And Miko is like, Raiden, kill Sara. She knows too much. So Sara's like, don't listen to that vixen, Raiden. But I think Raiden's gonna kill Sara. Yeah, this is gonna be really sad too. No. When Sara was dealing, she was probably pretty good. But when the brain cells started connecting what's really going on, nah, she would be like the detective that gets too close to the truth. Yes. Next up, we have Kokomi, and I want to do Goro too over here. So I think Kokomi and Goro are gonna gonna work for Ayato without a doubt. And they're gonna have a little secret hideout on Watatsumi Island that keeps the reserves of the Naku weed. Yeah, because let's say Ayato gets caught one day. He can easily bail himself out of any situation, either with words or with the insane cash flow. Yeah, Daddy Ayato has a lot of money. So with that in mind, they work for him. The only issue is, since Kokomi's so wholesome and cares about the health of everybody, I think she's gonna turn herself in. Yeah, and Goro being the right-hand subordinate would follow in her footsteps because these two are just really wholesome, down-to-earth people. And I think Ayato's like, why'd you turn yourself in? And Kokomi's like, we've gone down a wrong path, Ayato. And Ayato's like, don't give me that BS, Kokomi, I need you. And Kokomi's like, well, I don't need you. Ooh, Kokomi, yes. And just to make sure that Ayato doesn't get the supply, she burns down the hideout. Ayato's like, my Naku-wee! But yeah, these two are turning themselves in. They're too pure for this industry. Ito, bro, no. Him and Shinobu, okay. So maybe one day, the Arataki gang becomes like a little like cartel of its own. They're not like one of the big boys like Miko or Ayato, but like they're a group of 10 that deal throughout Rito and Inazuma City. But one day, the vixen, Miko, catches them selling on her turf. And she walks up to them with like 10 armed bodyguards and a shogun by her side. And she tells them, you guys are selling on my turf. You have two choices. You can join me, or you know what the other choice is. And Ito, being the hothead that he is like, screw you, lady. You don't tell the Arataki gang what to do. And then she's like, Raiden, kill him. And Ito's getting gunned down in the streets. Yes. And Shinobu being the smart one out of the group. Like the rest of the Arataki gang, when Ito gets offed, just runs away. But Raiden makes swift work of them. And then Miko walks up to Shinobu like, you're the smart one out of this group, aren't you? And then Shinobu's like, yeah, I went to law school and now I'm dealing Naku weed for the Arataki gang. But nah, Shinobu is genuinely very logical and she knows her stuff. I think she would be a phenomenal dealer. And Ito, honestly, if he wasn't gunned down, with his charisma, might be pretty good as well. But Shinobu's gonna have to work full time for Miko reluctantly. Ooh. Since Shinobu's actually so loyal, even though she squabbles with the boys all the time, maybe she's planning in the shadows to assassinate Yae and Miko. That would be so cool. Yeah, so she's abiding her time, waiting for the moment to strike. But that's how it's gonna end. Yeah, we don't know if she'll ever get Miko, maybe if we have a part 2, but yeah. Next up, we got Heizo. Ooh, the detective. I feel like he's probably going undercover to try to bust Miko. Yeah. So he becomes a side hustler dealer and gets into a battle of the wits. Who would win? The cunning fox or the flirts with your mom detective? I think the cunning fox would win, but she would never full out tell Heizo that she knows what he's doing. Yeah, because Heizo's probably really useful because he's a top tier seller. He has that charisma. He can sell really well is what I'm saying. So he would be one of the frontmen of Yae Miko's like little cartel. Like when you think of a Miko cartel dealer, a lot of the time, the flirts with your mom Heizo is the first person coming to your mind. Yeah. So similar to Shinobu, bro, they're both plotting against Miko, but I think Miko's gonna be like a couple steps ahead. And when they finally get to the point where they think they have her, she's gonna, you know, do what needs to be done, to say the least. But until we get to that point, Heizo's gonna be the side hustler investigating Miko, and yeah, simple enough. Aloy and Lumine. Okay, again, they're not from Inazuma, but I'm gonna sneak them in here. So what if Lumine, who finds out that her brother was killed by the Kamisato clan, is plotting some revenge? Yeah, so maybe Ayaka told Lumine that Ayato was the one who had Aether killed, and Ayato doesn't know that Lumine knows. So he hires Lumine as another side hustler, and he's like, I'm sorry for what happened to your brother, Lumine. And Lumine's like, don't worry about it. I'm sure everything will be just right soon enough. And then Lumine's like, you can give me more hours, by the way. I could sell even more if you want. Because Lumine is a wholesome, top-tier seller without a doubt. And Ayato's like, hey, if you need more work, you know where to come. The Kamisato Cartel is here for you. But she would be plotting, waiting to strike the bro down. Yeah, okay. There's so many side plots here. So many trying to get rid of the kingpin of the industry. Yeah. And Aloy, I think, is gonna be the gatherer of supplies. Yeah, because she's always camping in the wild. Maybe she's contracted by Miko just to bring some Naku weed back from time to time. Since Aloy's the queen of the scouts, knows how to pinpoint things on the land. She could tell Miko where some new stuff is growing. Yeah, so she's a side hustler for Miko. Alright guys, that was the Inazuma Cartel list. It's time to rank the Sumeru characters as Naku weed dealers, or just any position they might hold in the Sumeru Cartel. So first up we have Tagnari. Now this man is not selling, he's 100% a cook. He's working in the lab. I'm just wondering who he would work for. What if Nahida, because she's technically already the queen pin, what if she's making an alternative to the standard Naku weed? Yeah, because she's the god of nature. What if she's trying to make a healthy version? Something that when a client takes it, it relieves the bad things that standard Naku weed does. Yeah, okay, wait. So yeah, she's gonna have her little crew. I think Tagnari's definitely gonna work directly under Nahida, full-time in the lab. Meanwhile, as Nahida is gonna be the delegator. She creates like a substance and then gives that substance of Naku weed to Tagnari. And Tagnari's like the mass producer, because maybe it takes a lot of Nahida's power to make so much Naku weed. Yeah, because it's a plant and she cares about her citizens' health. Yeah, she's gonna be the delegator queen pin. Tagnari's gonna work for her directly, and he probably has a lab set up in Gandharvaville, and he has like a greenhouse where he's mass producing the Naku weed. Yeah, okay, this works. I like this little scenario. Kale, I think, is gonna work directly for Tagnari. So this is like a social hierarchy. Nahida, Tagnari, Kale. She's only gonna be side hustling because she also has her schoolwork. She needs to take care of herself. Yeah. And I don't think Tagnari, as the doting father, is gonna want Kale spending too much time on this. So yeah, simple part-timer, also in the lab. Debatably, Kale could probably sell, but no, she's not too much of a fan of that human interaction. Okay, we have the healthy crew right now. I'm wondering who's gonna be dealing the messed up, like the normal Naku weed. Okay, yeah, it's gonna be Dori, without a doubt. She already has that black market connection. She probably does everything in this industry. She tells people what to do because she's the queen pin. She probably sells a bit on the side. She takes a bit. Yo, she's the perfect all-arounder. I don't think she's gonna necessarily be selling the good Naku weed, the healthy one. She's gonna be selling the standard Inazuma imported Naku weed. And she probably has her own little cartel and group of people that work for her. And it's probably almost impossible to really catch this girl because she knows how to sneak around and maneuver so well. Yeah, simple one. She already sells knowledge kush. She can just add Naku weed kush. It's perfect. Nilou is 100% working for Nahida. Like, she would not work for anybody else. She would turn herself in if she even had to touch Dori's malicious substance. So I think Nilou's gonna be doing it kind of on the side. Maybe, ooh, okay, what if during her performances, she's promoting Lesser Lord Kusanali's Naku weed? Yeah, and after the performance is done, she's like, we're giving out free samples, take it. Yes, because Nilou is so pure. She would be a top tier seller and promoter. I'm just gonna put her in side hustle because she has a lot of other things on her plate as well. Next up, we have Sino. Ooh, so I think he's definitely gonna be working for Nahida to try to capture Dori. Yeah, because they're trying to make it so that all the Naku weed in Sumeru is healthy, but they probably have like a 50-50 rate for the time being because she controls the entirety of the underground, while Nahida is controlling the above ground. So maybe Sino goes undercover as a dealer to infiltrate the Liyue Cartel. Yeah. The only issue is that in this industry, there's so many layers of people that I think it's gonna be really hard to track Dory. I'm not sure if he would straight up capture her though, but we'll leave him there for now. It can go one of two ways. Either Sino can capture Dory, or Dory can find out what Sino's doing and make sure he's gunned down. But it's tricky. I'm gonna leave him in full time. I'm not gonna take that extra step because I'm not sure how this would turn out, but we'll leave him there. Candace? Ooh, she's an interesting one. I feel like Aru Village has its own supply chain away from these two, away from the main city, because they're so far in the middle of nowhere. And what if they find a special kind of Naku weed that only grows in the desert? And it's like a miracle. And maybe Candace needs the money to support her village. And she could probably be a really good queen pin. Yeah, simple enough actually. I think she'd be in charge of the Aru Village cartel. Since she has to stay in the village, I think she would get some of her people that work for her to spread the Naku weed to the main city of Sumeru. Yeah. And they'd bring the profits back to help the infrastructure of Aru Village. Okay. I think the issue is she's not going to be on the same level as these two. Like, let's say if Dory and Nahida both control 40% of the Naku weed market, Candace is the other 20. But at the same time, it's good because she's not going to stand out as much. So yeah, she's going to be the queen pin of Aru Village. Next up, we have Dea. Ooh, so she's, I think, is going to work for Candace because the desert squad has to stick together. And I think she would try to do her best with dealing and would be a top tier dealer as well. Yeah. And maybe she uses the money she gets and donates it to the local orphanage because Dea's a sweet lass. With that in mind, I'm gonna put her in side hustle because she's already a full-time mercenary. So she'd do both of them. And even though she's a side hustler, I think she would be one of Candace's best sellers without a doubt. So next up, we have Al-Haytham, and you know I gotta do Kaveh at the same time. These guys are always the package deal. I think they're gonna be your at-home sellers and growers. Yeah, so they're gonna be selling from the comfort of their own home, and I think Al-Haytham, as just being so done with Kaveh all the time, is gonna be consuming his own Naku weed. Yeah. And even though he consumes it, he's still a really smart, good seller of the product, but he only does it because he needs the cash flow. Meanwhile, Kaveh just wants to sell better than Al-Haytham. And even though Al-Haytham is baked out of his mind, Kaveh still can't compete with the legend. What if one day Dory sees them selling from their home and she's like, we can't let this continue. They're selling in my city. So Kaveh, one day on his way home, is gunned down in the street by Dory's cartel. Yeah. So Kaveh's dead. And then she knocks up on Al-Haytham's door and just tells him, I've killed your friend. Now join me. And Al-Haytham's like, oh, you killed Kaveh? Thanks, girl. He was kind of annoying. Yeah. No, I personally love Kaveh, but Al-Haytham and him, no. And Al-Haytham, being the smart guy he is probably like, what if I work for you and we split the profits? And Dory, being the businesswoman, is like, you know what? You got yourself a deal, buddy. Al-Haytham would be the Naku weed consumer working for Dory. Meanwhile, as Kaveh he's just dead. Next, we got Scaramouche. Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna put him as full-time Nahida's bodyguard. Yeah, because as a dealer, no, he would kill some of the people buying from him if they give him a little bit of lip. He's not a lab guy either, but as a bodyguard, he would be top tier because he would be protecting his mother from all the assassins that Dory keeps sending after her. Yeah, okay. Scara, the full-time bodyguard, protecting his real mother. Next, we got Faruzan. Ooh, she 100% strikes me as the lab technician. Yeah. Who would she work for, though? I can see her working with Tag Tagnari, but I think the more interesting approach would be that Faruzan works for Dori because Dori probably pays better. And Faruzan's a bit of that money seeker from time to time. Yeah. So what if one day Dori pays her a visit after work hours and is like, come work for me. I'll triple the rate of what Nahida's paying. And Faruzan is instantly like, yes, I'll do it. And then Dori's like, do I have to threaten? Oh, you'll do it? So she would be full-time in the lab, just working for Dori's cartel. Yeah, and now we got the battle of the lab technicians, Faruzan versus Tagnari. Ooh, that's a tight one. I think Faruzan might actually win that. That's debatable though. What if on Faruzan's way out, Dori's like, tell me the location of the lab. Oh God. And then she sends a bunch of men to the lab to just eliminate everybody. Oh no! Tagnari is getting everyone to safety, but he fends off Dori's bodyguards. And Kale's like, Master Tagnari, don't do this! So yeah, I think Tagnari's gonna get gunned down after the raid on the lab, and then Kale's gonna take over as the leader because she wants to get revenge on Dori. And I feel like after this is all done, Faruzan's gonna feel really bad about Tagnari, but at least Kale's safe because she cares so much about Kale. But the guilt from this, I think, is gonna be a lot. Next, we got Lila. Guys, when you're really stressed out about school, sometimes people take substances to relieve themselves. But I do not endorse this, guys. If you're stressed out, go partying with friends. Just make sure you're not consuming Naku weed. Anyway, she might be similar to Al-Haytham in the sense that she probably grows it in her own house. And what if just basic Lila is a horrible seller, but when she's passed out, she sleepwalks into the town with her product and starts selling it. Yeah, sleep version of Lila, top tier seller, but at the same time has also consumed her own product. And I think Nahida would probably reach out to Lila and just give her the healthy Nakui to sell. Yeah, and she's doing a good thing and is also taking a healthy alternative of Naku weed. Yeah. Alright guys, that was the Sumeru Cartel tier list. It was a really fun time. I enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. And with that in mind, take care guys. Let me know your thoughts on the Sumeru Cartel in the comments. And yeah, take care and have a good one.